Welcome to INN CEO Talks. Joining me today is Nick Appleyard, the President, CEO, and Director of TriStar Gold, which trades on the TSX Venture under the symbol TSG, and on the OTCQX under the symbol TSGZF. Nick Appleyard was appointed President and CEO in December of 2015. He has extensive executive experience in mining, having previously been the CEO of Sharpel Gold, and he was the Vice President Corporate Development for International Minerals. Nick has over 25 years international experience in precious metals, exploration, and mining. He's helped manage exploration, development, and production, JVs in North and South America, including extensive project development experience in South America with more than 10 years in country, and prior to that in Australia. Nick, welcome. You know, right off the bat, I think that you've got some big news, and so why don't we just get started there?
Yeah, no, this is a big milestone for us. You know, as you said, I took over TriStar December 2015. We had 280,000 ounces on the books then, and we've now just published our PFS. So we've now got 1.4 million ounces of reserves, and some sensational economics or compelling economics to go along with that. So we're super excited right now that it's coming to fruition.
Well, tell us a little bit more about the project. It's in southern Brazil. It's called Castelo de Sonhos. Is that correct?
Yeah, Castelo de Sonhos. It's in central Brazil, the southern portion of Pará State. It's a large paleoplacer gold deposit, which means it's just pure gold. There's nothing else in it. It's sand and gold effectively, which is why we get 98% recovery. And it's in a great location for permitting, a great location for mining, and it's been growing really, really nicely over these last 5 years now.
So your recent news and location, everything like that, what does that do as far as the risk assessment of your project?
I mean, I think, when I took over running the company, I said December 2015, I think in January, the first thing we did was we published our own due diligence, because it was a management takeover where we paid, investors to take over. We published our due diligence, and you can go back and look at that January press release, and it says we're going to achieve what we've done now. So, internally, I feel really, really good about it. So we've gone from a conceptual exploration target range through to a scoping study, which is, again, fairly conceptual, to now a pre-feasibility study with a lot of engineering, a lot of detailed drilling, a lot of de-risking, and not just on the drilling and the technical aspects, but on the permitting and the baseline and the community side as well. The whole thing's been moved forward and de-risked to a huge degree right now.
You've come a long way in that period of time, haven't you? Your phase one operations, the growth potential, what this could mean to the economics. Can you tell me a little bit more?
Yeah, I think one of the things that's really come out of this study is that the project is sort of broken into two phases, even though it's one original deposit. Phase one, has an all-in sustaining cost of $50 lower than the average of $850 an ounce rather than $900 for the life of mine. And that's where we'll clearly make a lot more money in those first 6 years, producing 150,000 ounces of gold a year. So what that allows us to recognize now is, okay, is there any more gold in that area at that grade under those conditions that can allow us to extend phase one from 6 years to 8 years to 10 years? And the answer is, yeah, we think there is. And we're going to go after it and try and extend that, which is the high margin material.
So what do you anticipate would be, the life of mining operations for this project when you get to that stage?
Well, right now we've got 11 years running at 10,000 tons a day, or 3.6 million tons a year. We've always assumed that this is going to run longer. I mean, my background from Australia is you start a process, plant up, and it's going to run for 30, 40 years. I have no idea. I haven't got a crystal ball that can tell me how long this one's going to run. Right now, we can sort of definitely say it's got 11 years life, but there's a lot of area that still needs drilling. There's a lot of inferred resources that need upgrading, and there's areas where we've got workings and geochemical signature on the ground, which we can still drill to add more resources, we believe. So this is still really early in the life cycle of this project. It's got a long way to go.
You have the money you need right at the moment to continue to move forward with your plan, because that's always a question that investors are curious to know.
Yeah, we've got around about $7 million in the bank right now, probably a fraction less, 6.5 in that range after we pay the last few bills on the PFS. So that's plenty of money for us to move forward and move ahead with our plans right now. We'll need to think sometime into next year how we're going to go beyond that. Because as you do advance the project, you are writing bigger checks every phase. But we've still got, we're not desperate right now. We've got plenty of money to keep moving forward with.
So is your plan then to build out, or do you envision vending into a major?
My plan is to, I guess, I always consider that my job is taking a geological discovery and turning it into a business plan for the benefit of shareholders. So we are working on moving this forward towards production, feasibility production. We'll look at doing that. And the minute if someone comes along which gives us a better option that's better for my shareholders, we will take it. So it's really agnostic. Whatever's best for the shareholders, we'll do.
Right.
But the sort of the core direction of us is going to be moving it forward to production. But if someone wants to talk to us about a joint venture or some sort of deal like that or a takeover, we'd definitely talk to them. But it would have to be more beneficial to our shareholders than us doing it ourselves.
Right. So in the immediate future right now, between this great news that you have now and the next time when you're going to come back and give us updates, what's the plan?
The big stuff is going to be, I guess there's the background work that doesn't get a lot of news is the permitting work. That's going ahead. We're increasing our permitting team. We're increasing our permitting budgets. That work's going ahead because that's, in a lot of ways where the real value is now. It's like, okay, everyone knows, this can be a mine now if you can get it permitted. So we've got to show now, yep, this is going to get permitted. So that's where a lot of our focus is going to be on, drilling out, extending phase one at the same time, and then rolling into a full feasibility, that extended phase one drilling. So that's really where we'll be working on is some extension drilling and permitting.
Yeah, not everybody is, of course, familiar with Brazil as a mining jurisdiction. How is it going with that permitting process? And also, when you get to that point, what's the infrastructure in the area that says this will make this a feasible mine?
Okay, yeah. So, Brazil, it's obviously a massive country. You always forget how big it is until you start flying across and you fly over the deposit and you sort of still got another 3 hours before you get down to Sao Paulo. But we're in probably the preeminent mining state there, where Vale have got their massive iron ore mines, and there's some very profitable gold mines, and it's a mining state. The state government say, like, we want to be the preeminent receptor of mining investment in Brazil, and that's their goal, and that's what they're doing. So they're behind mining, which is always a great thing. You want this, the authorities. It's like having a wind at your back. Pará State can be infrastructure challenged, because it's a remote area, but we're lucky. We're like 15 kilometers off of a highway. That highway is a major power corridor, so there's power lines running up it, which have excess power in there. And all that's actually been put in. We're sort of reaping sort of benefits from the soybean industry to the south of us, who have to get infrastructure in to get the soybeans to the ports in the north. So we're sort of just benefiting indirectly from that, but you're in one of these wonderful locations where you've got power, you've got highway access, you've got a labor force, but you haven't got large populations, you haven't got indigenous populations, we haven't got pristine environment, it's farming country. So you haven't got any of the big negatives, and you've got a lot of the pluses, because nobody wants a mine built on their back doorstep. So it's nice to be 20 kilometers out of town, but close enough to town to have the labor force. So it's a great location.
Right. And of course, sort of my final question, because we're kind of running a little bit over time right now, and it's a question that all investors who tune into these conversations ask, okay, what is unique about this time for me to get involved with TriStar? We've
shown now that this mine can produce 150,000 ounces a year. That's a major threshold for a lot of companies, for intermediate to large producers. I don't know if one of those companies is going to come and make an offer and buy us, but I think the potential for that is going to drive the valuation of the company. It's what's going to drive, value to companies like us. We've shown this is now a major deposit. It's probably the preeminent development asset in Brazil, held by a junior. There's nothing stopping it from getting built. There's just good things happening. It's been really good. And I think it's really nice that everything we've said since January 2016 has been done. We said where we're going to get to. We've got there. The deposit's gone from tiny to massive. It's just a good story.
Yeah, it is a really good story. And as we started this interview, of course, you had significant news. And I'm hoping that you'll come back and give us an update in a few months so that we can continue to see the trend.
Very happy to, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, Stuart.